So for 6 continuous week, market has fell. Nifty has given negative return. This is happening after 5 years, almost after COVID. This is happening. So now most of the investors don't know what to do because the big events are there. We don't know Trump will roll back this 50% tariff or not. So markets will move based on the news flow. It's going to be an evolving situation. But a 50% tariff, it's very difficult to export. Even at 20% tariff also, there is almost a 5 to 10% difference is there between our neighboring countries. So for 10% difference means we can manage by depreciating rupee by 3-4% with government subsidy and all. But some of the sectors like textiles and all, which are doing exports at a small margin, at 50% it's not going to happen. So some of the sectors, key sectors like textiles, shrimp, like that, they are going to suffer a lot. Chemicals, because they have huge competitions from other countries on this. Even a small 5% margin, you may find it difficult to export. So we have to see how things are going to pan, and it's going to be evolving situation. So the 50% tariff on India is the highest. If you rank on the table based on tariff, is one of the highest among all countries, and reciprocal tariff is 25%. Then additionally 25% for the importing Russian oil. Trump has slabbed few days back. Totally 50% he has slabbed it. And the other worrying factor for most of them is the earnings season is not that great. As usual, revenue has gone up by mid-single digit and profitability has gone up by mid-single digit. So that is the issue. Suppose if earnings is good means, then many would have bought based on that fundamental push, but that also lagging. So that is why market is moving on the sideways. Except a few companies, most of the companies' earnings were muted. And the plus point is that the monsoon is good. The first of actually June, July, August, September, 4 months are there for the monsoon. The first 2 is over. June and July is good, almost 6% up. August, in the first 10 days, we are seeing some break monsoon. But next week onwards, again, monsoon is expected to pick up. And August and September is going to be good. Also, May, we had a very good month, which is generally not taken for calculation for monsoon rainfall. So because of early start of monsoon, this time agriculture will be very good on agriculture related economies like rural will do very well in the second half because of good monsoon. And the FII selling, they have restarted because we had a huge selling till March. Then again few months of either flat day or small buying or small negative. But in the month of July, again daily they started selling 4,000 crores, 5,000 crores and all. On a daily basis they started selling. So that's also a worrying factor because foreign institutions, if keep on selling means then it has to be balanced by mutual fund buying. Right now mutual funds are getting money, so and they are investing it. Suppose if mutual fund inflow stops means, then again the incremental selling by foreign institution may push the market sharply lower. Apart from that, promoters are also selling. Even if you see yesterday, the Bharati Airtel promoter, they sold for 9,000 crores. Like that, many PE players are selling. All these are observing the liquidity. So that's why market is moving on sideways. And Nifty and Sensex almost 3% down. Mid cap near to 4.5 and small cap by 5% in the last 1 month. And this is the 50% tariff. Now India is on top of the tariff table, and 25% is the reciprocal tariff. Actually, initially when India on April 2nd, when Trump announced the tariff, India was 26%. So just 1% he has reduced for India, whereas for some other countries he reduced drastically by 10%, 11% he reduced it. Whereas for India just 1% was reduced. And another 25% penalty he levied on India for financing Russia-Ukraine war. But it is very surprising because even though many other countries also having trade with Russia on energy front, he punished specifically on India for doing trade with for buying oil with Russia. That is another 25%. So 50% overall it is coming. So government is a very tough situation. Because for Trump, if you stop buying Russian oil and you can go to some other places, means naturally oil prices will go up in the world because of imbalance in oil market. the other thing is that you cannot rely Trump on everything. He said that he had done deal with the European Union and Japan, and the conditions are very harsh. What he said was that if you import from US, you should not levy a single percent tax. That is, at 0% you have to import from import duty should be there for US products in our country. That is the number one condition. The second thing is that if you export to US, minimum he will put 15%. 10 he has said. For most of the countries he levied 15%, those who have agreed for that condition. So 15% he will levy reciprocal tax for doing export at US. So 0% if we import, whereas for 15% if we export. And another third big condition is that you have to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in US at the companies, what Trump is saying. So Trump is saying that Japan has agreed to invest $500 billion in US. Similarly, European Union, they have agreed to invest $600 billion in US. So three conditions he is putting. First is 0% tax on US products. So the second thing is that we have to pay reciprocal tariff, that he will charge reciprocal tariff. Third is you have to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in US. If you agree all these things and if you go with him, means he can change his mind anytime. After 1 year, he may tell that you have to invest in cryptocurrencies, he may say. Like that, he may put anything and he will say that you should not buy any product from some other country he does not like. So going with Trump is like riding in a tiger. So based on Trump words, if you have invested 100 or 200 billion dollars in US, means after that if he puts some other condition which is very difficult to follow, means what will happen to our money of 100 billion and 200 billion which we have invested in US. So going with the Trump is like riding a tiger. You cannot get it out, and a very difficult situation it will happen. So that's why India has decided to go with Russia and with BRICS country, and what we are expecting is that in the next 2-3 weeks a lot of realignment of geopolitics to happen. And the other thing is that US President Trump can change his word anytime. See, he was very friendly with Elon Musk of Tesla. Then suddenly both fighted. Again he talked very friendly with him. Again both fighted. Like that, he can change his mind anytime overnight. So that is the situation. Only 6 months has passed now. Another 3.5 years is there. We have to see what is going to happen in that. So this is the revised tariff table. So India is on the top, 50%. So 25% already came on from August 7, 2 days back. And another 25% will come from August 27th onwards, it will come to effect, this Russian penalty. So totally 15%. Brazil is 15. Then Switzerland, Myanmar is there, South Africa 30, China 30, Vietnam 20, Bangladesh 20. So like that it is coming. So Trump told that he has done deal with the European Union at 15% and Japan at 15%. And both have agreed to invest hundreds of billion dollars in US, he has said. Because of they have agreed, 15% is there. See, the problem is that only this is said by Trump, whereas both Japan and European Union, they are not talking anything that they have reached agreement with the US. They are not saying, only Trump is saying. So if you see the table very closely, you can see that Trump is targeting only the weaker countries. And one segment where he is heavily targeting is the BRICS nation, which was initially started with BRIC, that is Brazil, Russia, India and China. Then South Africa joined. Now almost 10-11 countries are there. UAE is there. Like that 10-11 countries are there in the BRICS. So what BRICS are planning is that they want to launch a separate currency which is an alternate to dollar, so that among BRIC countries they can do trading in that currency. So that idea was not liked by Trump, and he want to somehow dismantle this BRICS. That's why if you see that among BRICS, these are the countries which are having huge tariff now. That BRICS, Brazil 50%, India 50%, Russia, nowhere you can see the tariff, because US is not importing anything from Russia and Russia is not importing anything from US. Just a few billion US is importing, like uranium, so no tariff for that. China is 30, South Africa. So almost among BRIC countries, almost most of the countries are coming on the top. India, Brazil, South Africa, and China. Only Russia is not in that because US never US is not importing anything from Russia apart from few specialized fertilizer and uranium for nuclear activity. And that is why Russia is. So most of the BRIC is particularly targeted. If you see the revised table, tariff table. Apart from that, small countries will be there, so that these countries will obey whatever US says. If you see that Myanmar is 40, because they won't go, they don't want Myanmar to align with China, so that is why they are charged higher. Similarly, small countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, these small countries, they want to be with US instead of going with ally with some other countries. And this is the crude oil import. The funny thing is that Trump has slapped 25% tariff on India because of importing from Russia, whereas the many other countries also importing from Russia, that we can see it. And this is the crude oil import sources for India. And if you see, this is the Russia, where we were importing only a small percentage in 2020. This is during COVID time. Only 3% we were importing. $3 million we were importing barrels, in terms of barrels this is. And 2021 also. So in 2022, the Ukraine war started. Almost it is now 3.5 years now, this Ukraine war. We have immediately hiked it after the start of Ukraine war. Then the next year, again it went up. For last 2 years, it is almost 37 million barrels of oil we are importing. In 2025 so far just 8 months has passed and we are nearing to the last year level. So this year it is expected to be further higher than last 2 years. And from US it is almost stagnant from 6.2. Then it went up in 2021, then again it fell, and it is in that range. So our Russian import has gone up very sharply post Ukraine war because of some strategic reason, because Russia granted some discounts to us, and moreover European Union also reduced buying of crude oil. So to rebalance the global crude oil market, even US has advised us to buy from Russia, and India bought it, and India benefited from, as a country benefited from importing from Russia. And this is the energy trade, as I said previously. If you see the coal imports from coal trade from Russia, China is buying huge quantity of coal from Russia. India is the second largest buyer. Third is Turkey, and then South Korea also imports a small percentage of coal from Russia. Taiwan, like that, buying crude oil. If you see, almost near to 50% of Russia exports of crude oil is bought by China. India buys around 30% of Russia's crude oil, and after that European Union buys Turkey, Myanmar. So these 5 countries are mainly buying crude oil from Russia. So China almost 50% they are buying from Russia, but still no tariff, crude oil tariff is not levied on China. LNG, if you see that European Union who are dead against Russia, still they are the largest buyer of LNG, liquefied natural gas. They almost majority is bought by the European Union, Germany and all. A pipeline is there between Russia to Germany, where half of the German is lighted by Russian gas only. And the European Union is buying huge quantity, but no penalty tariff for European Union for buying LNG. So India has been particularly targeted. Even Japan is buying LNG from Russia, but they are spared and no tariff levied on Japan. Oil products, if you see, Turkey, China, Brazil, India, these are the countries which are buying. Pipeline gas, if you see, European Union, they are buying huge quantity of pipeline gas from Russia. As I said, German and all directly connected from Russia. The pipelines are directly connected between Russia and Germany, and most of the Germany power plants are littered with Russian gas only. But in spite of most of the countries doing trade, only India has been targeted. And tariff revenue started going up after the recent taxes, import tariff. The US, if you see that, it started showing huge spike in that. So per month, nearly 30 billion US government is getting on tariff. From August onwards, it will spike very sharply because the tariff rate has gone up very sharply. Till then, it was 10% for all countries. From August onwards, it will start spiking. Previously, it was near to 10. Almost 3 times it has gone up. From August onwards, it will start spiking very sharply because of higher tariff revenue US government is going to get. So one thing we have to remember that it's a indirect tax. This is tariff is not borne by the producer. It is borne by the purchaser. Just like GST, no. GST who are suffered, the consumer will suffer goods and service tax. 18% tax means a 100 rupee product will be charged, like manufacturer will bill it at 100 rupees, whereas the consumer will be charged at 118 rupees because of 18% GST. It is borne by the consumer, not by the manufacturer. The same way the tariff is ultimately going to affect the US consumer only, and most of the products prices will start going up, and that's why US Fed is not cutting any rates. Even though the inflation as of now is very less, the tariff impact is going to see 6 months lag, 7 months lag, because the old stock they will sell at a lower rate. The stocks which they are going to get, it will reach the shelves of Walmart 3 months, 4 months lagging, and the price will be much higher because of the tariff impact, and the price will be ultimately borne by the US consumers only. Ultimately it will affect and the inflation will go up. That is why US Fed is very adamant that he will not hike he will not reduce the interest rate because inflation is going to go up, whereas Trump wants to cut the interest rate immediately. Trump himself knows that the inflation is going to go up. So that's why before the data actually starts hitting, he wants to reduce the interest rate in US. So in spite of all this tariff, if we manufacture a product at a competitive rate, means somehow the demand will come. See why China has become the manufacturing country of the world, because the rates are extremely competitive. That's why if you manufacture a product at China at 100 rupees, means the same product will take at 150 rupees or 200 rupees in Europe or in US. In India, if you manufacture the same product, it will come at 120 rupees. China, if you manufacture it, it will come at 100 rupees because of various reasons, because of lower power cost, lower land cost, lower labor cost, and lower logistics cost. So if you are competitive, means somehow you will get the demand, even though temporarily, if you want to stop it, means temporarily you can stop it by putting tariff, but somehow it will reach the consumer in one way or another. See, during Trump first period, he levied the same tariff on China alone. Now he is putting tariff throughout all countries, whereas during the Trump first term, Trump he levied this same tariff, I think 10% on Chinese product. But what China did, they exported to Vietnam, and from Vietnam it started going to US. Like that, the product got diverted, and finally it reached the destination of US. Just like water, the Singapore foreign minister, he told, water will find its own destination somehow, one way or another. You can construct a dam to artificially stop it, but ultimately when water gets filled in, you have to open the dam and water will reach the destination where it will go. The same way, a country which is manufacturing competitive products at a competitive rates, means somehow it will reach the destination, that it will reach the consumers, because consumers blindly they don't buy products at the higher price because of higher duties, except the sin products, alcohol, where the manufacturing cost is 20-25 rupees, whereas consumers will buy at 125 rupees, 154, 4 times, 5 times. A cigarette the same way, the taxes are extremely high, except the sin products. The other products, somehow it will reach the consumers one way or another, where there is competitive edges there, where the prices are lower. So one example, I will give a couple of examples. This is the pharma sector. where many pharma companies are outsourcing their research to in our country. So it's done by one research team where this Ionic Wealth, they have done it by Angel One. They have done this. See, if you do an R&D in US, the cost will come at 100. Manufacturing cost is 100 means in European Union the cost of manufacturing cost will be 88, marginally lower. US it is 100 rupees, whereas in European Union it is 88. In China it is 38 rupees, whereas in manufacturing in India it will come at 45, almost 50% lower when compared to US. For R&D work, if you are going to spend 100 rupees in US means, in European Union it will cost 60 rupees, in China it will cost 40, in India it is 25. Almost 75% saving is there if you do an R&D work, pharma related R&D work in US and India. So naturally what companies will do, companies they are run for profit, they are not doing for running for charity. So where it is lower, they will come. Even if you put 25% tariff or 50% tariff, there is a huge difference of cost is there, 100 rupees and 25 rupees, 75% difference is there. So naturally it will come even if you put some tariff. Near term it may affect, but over a period of time again companies will come back where the charges are lower. The other thing is that the Trump will stay for 4 years only. So after 4 years what will happen, we don't know. The next president, whether he will continue the same policy or he will dilute it very much, that we don't know. So the companies which are going to put billions of dollars in US based on Trump means they will think twice or thrice before putting that money. And the other example also I will tell. See, recently most of the IT stocks fell very sharply. Already the IT stocks were not moving because the growth rates by large cap IT companies, the guidance they were giving was very muted, low single digit growth they were expecting for a year. Suddenly one day one news came that TCS is going to lay off some 12,000 employees, high mid-level and higher level employees. They have said that because of some reasons they told, and that triggered a fresh sell-off in IT stocks. And already IT stocks are muted mainly because the growth forecast was very less for them, low single digit growth forecast by large cap companies. And net employee addition also flat. See, net employee addition flat means it doesn't mean that they are not taking any employees. See, TCS is having almost 6 lakhs employees. The attrition rate is around 12%. That means 72,000 employees will leave the company every year. And in the current year, we are expecting the employee count will go up marginally higher. That means 72,000 employee leaving the TCS, and they have to top up the same quantity of employees, at least for employee count to remain same. So they will be recruiting around 72,000 employees to balance the attrition rate. So the TCS laying off 12,000 people doesn't mean that employee count will come down. They will keep on recruiting it. But previously what used to happen is if 10,000 people are leaving the organization means TCS and Infosys, they used to recruit 15,000, 20,000 more than the people who are leaving it. Now what is happening? 10,000 people are leaving the organization means they are recruiting just 10,000 people, so that the net employee addition are flat. And also see, whenever some big issues comes means we all know we how to blame these companies. Most of them started blaming that IT company did not diversify their business model. They were more focused on buyback and taking money from the company through higher dividends. They did not diversify like Microsoft or Facebook, like Meta, like that. Like that, people started blaming the companies. On one side, IT sector is struggling and they are not recruiting any people. Whereas on the other side, if you see that the same period, I am taking last 1 year, 2 year, if you see that, this Global Capability Center. This is the one which is booming very well throughout India in large cities like Chennai, Bangalore, and North Indian cities like Pune and all. What we are seeing is that just like how IT was booming some decades back, The same thing what is happening is that many companies, MNC companies, they are setting this global capability center. IT is the one where they used to outsource it to IT companies. Whereas global capability center is that that company itself will keep a global capability center in our country, and they will be doing their own job of R&D, design, software development, just like high-end jobs they will be doing. I know that many German auto majors, they have global capability center in India where they were used to develop software for their own company, and they used to do R&D work for their own company and designing work. Previously, some of the jobs they used to outsource to IT companies. Now, instead of outsourcing, because they want, because if you do some outsourcing work, what will happen is that some secret news may leak out. Whereas in GCC, they are doing their own works, so the secrecy and all will be maintained. And GCC, still many companies want to keep global capability center in our country, mainly because we have skilled educated youths we are having who are capable of doing this high-end jobs. So on one hand, IT companies are not growing, whereas on the other hand, the GCC is growing very, very well because of the availability of skilled educated youths are available. And here comes this competitive edge, because the cost of doing research work in German and in India far, far lower. So that is why all these MNC companies are keeping job this GCC in our country. But one thing we have to remember, that this GCC will not compensate for the job loss in IT jobs. IT companies mainly, most of the almost 50-60% of their works they are doing are the low end works. And if you go to any big colleges, SRM or VIT private colleges, if TCS comes, they used to recruit 300-400 people, they used to recruit TCS, Infosys and all. Whereas GCC company also go for a campus interview, but they recruit 5-10 like that, they will recruit. So the employment generation by GCC is less, whereas if you compare the salary, in TCS will starting salary will give between 3 to 4 lakhs they will give, whereas GCC will give 9 to 10 lakhs, 11 lakhs they are giving. Even some cases they are giving 12 lakhs to 15 lakhs also they are offering, but the number of people they are recruiting will be far less when compared to large cap IT companies. Auto sales, it is muted, no big growth is there. Maruti almost flat. This is domestic wholesale auto sales. Maruti negative, Hyundai negative. This M&M alone is showing good growth consistently. Almost 20% growth is there. And if you see the two-wheelers, TVS is consistently doing very well. And the second is the Royal Enfield Eicher Motors. So that is why we recommended this Eicher Motors last time. And TVS, both domestic and exports, they are doing very well. And commercial vehicles, all muted growth. So overall auto sales is muted apart from two-wheelers. Two-wheelers is somewhat doing well. And for two-wheelers, one segment which is doing very well is the exports. So the same thing what I told you, this competitive advantage wherever is there, their business will do very well. And if you see the exports, most of the two-wheeler companies, the exports are doing exceedingly well. They mainly exports to African countries and Latin American countries. And if you see that Bajaj Auto, they are in this export business for more than 15-20 years. They are in this export business. And if you see that their exports, domestic was lower, whereas exports growth was 22% when compared to last year. TVS Motor, if you see, 52% their export business has gone up when compared to last year, when most of the global economy is not doing well, when domestic sales is not doing well, whereas the exports part is doing exceedingly well. Hero Motor, 64%. They entered the export business very lately, and 64. That is why the number of vehicles sold is far less when compared to this above two. Similarly, Eicher Motor also, they entered the export business very lately, but still they are picking up. But one thing what I am noticing for the last few months is that the export part of all two-wheeler companies are consistently doing well. And TVS Motor, both domestic is doing well, export is doing well. So that is why their stock price did not fell in spite of market correction, and it is near to their all-time high. So only thing the why I did not recommended TVS Motor was that the valuation was very high. So that is why we did not recommended it. But fundamentally, if you see that, it is the fastest growing two-wheeler company in our country. Q1 results, there is no major positive is there. Mid single digit growth in sales and profit is there, 7%. Last year it was slightly better last year when compared to last year. So this the data I used to take from the paper, Business Standard paper. Every day they will put it, and generally in our research team, after entire result season is over, we will used to compile it from our capital line database, and then we will take the data. But in between, on a daily basis, we used to see this business standard newspaper, where the daily basis they used to update it. So next month we will compile our own data that I will present to you, and we will see how Nifty has done, how the entire companies has done, how mid cap companies have done. That in next month, once the entire result season, that will end by 14th next week, and next month I will update to you how the overall performance of Nifty and broader market on results wise. So also this time also a lot of extraordinary gain loss were there, and if you see that Reliance posted huge profits, but that was boosted by one-time revenue of the selling of the Asian Paint share. They got a big profit in that. So that is why the Reliance overall profit was higher, but mainly because of extraordinary item. So this extraordinary item has been becoming an important thing when we see the overall results. These are one-time results. It won't repeat every quarter, and results were mixed. And what we are seeing is the in financials. No, this NPA has gone up across the board on quarter basis. The NPA is going up. So that is some worrying thing, and most of the NPA comes not from big business. Most of the NPA is coming from retail loan, consumer loan. In that only this NPA is coming. Similarly, microfinance loans, agri loan, this NPA is coming. And FMCG, muted growth is there. IT also muted growth. Only selected companies posted some good results. RBI meeting 2 days back we had it. There was no change in repo rate, and one positive is that they have reduced the inflation forecast from 3.7 to 3.1 for next year. And in that comment they said that rural consumption is strong, and they want that growth outlook faces the risk of global uncertainty. They have warned it, and I don't think that RBI will cut a rate anytime soon. They will wait for how this tariff is going to pan out, and then they will take some decision. Monsoon, as I said previously, this is till July 31st, which is the of the full monsoon. June, July, August, September. Out of that, July 31st I have taken, and 6.5% surplus rain is there. As on yesterday, it has fell to 2%, but because of break monsoon in the first 10 days of August, the overall surplus has come down. But we expect that from next week onwards, again the monsoon rain will pick up throughout country, and IMD has forecasted that the second half of the monsoon also to see above normal rainfall. So overall, the monsoon is expected to be good, which will get reflected in our economy in the second half. And this is the Trump volatility. See, based on Trump, you can't take any big decision. If you see that at one point of time he slapped some duties on copper, and he said that copper, refined copper also will get tariff, he said. So immediately the copper prices went up very sharply. If you see that, because refined copper is going to attract duty, and copper price went very sharply. But immediately after a few weeks, the same US administration told that copper prices are not subject to the refined copper is not subject to tariff, they told. So on a single day in US, the copper price fell by 20%. From 5.7 it fell to 4.4. On a single day it fell very sharply. So these are the things happening, Now, few days back, he told that the gold which are getting imported from Switzerland in US, it is subject to tariff. He told. Immediately, gold price went up by more than $100 in US. Whether he will roll back it or not, we don't know. So that is the uncertainty we are facing. The especially it is affecting more US than any other countries, because the copper it went up very sharply. Then again it fell very sharply. The copper bought by the US consumers, what will happen? They will lose heavily. On a single day, it fell by 22%. And rupee also, some weakness is there, because the Indian government knows that the tariff is going to be higher, 25%. It is going to be 20 or 25. They felt it, and that is why they started weakening the rupee, because at least exporters may get some relief from the tariff. And cash market, as I initially told, the FII selling has restarted. So March, April, May, June, then there was net buy figure. Previously, from October on to February, huge sell figure was there. After that, in July, again near to 50,000 crores worth of shares has been sold in cash market. And in August till 7th, first week, almost 11,000 crores it has been sold. So yesterday many were asking, both DIA and FII buyer, whereas market fell. Yesterday buy figure mainly came because this Bharati Airtel promoter, they sold 9,000 crores worth of share, which were bought by DIA and foreign institutions. That is why the figure was surplus. But if you leave aside, means I feel that many smart money is sold yesterday. Smart money means some operator driven money is sold yesterday, because the stocks which fell yesterday, most of them were high value, over value shares, stocks which are trading at high valuations. PG Electroplast, Kalyan Jewelry, then Dixon. So these are the stocks which fell yesterday very sharply. So near term view, what we are expecting is that it's going to be an evolving situation. So no one knows anything, how it is going to pan out. Because Trump, he suppose suddenly next August 15th, what it was told that you Putin and US president is going to meet. Suppose something positive happens, means then immediately market may go up. So situations will be evolving, and what we can do is that we have to buy companies where the fundamentals are good, because if the fundamentals be during this uncertain time only, many times what we feel is that we don't know whether to hold that share, we sell that share, we don't know. If fundamentals are strong, at least some hope we will have, and we can hold that share. Say one company called Kitex is there. They have put a huge plant in Telangana. By borrowing 1,300-400 crores, they have borrowed money, and they have put a big plant, textile plant in Telangana. And that plant is particularly to cater the US market. Suppose if there is 50% tariff, means what will happen? Kitex cannot export to US at this with 50% tariff. But their loan they have taken, 1,400 crores loan they have taken, they have to pay the interest to the banks. So every year nearly 140 crores will come. That is why if you see that the Kitex stock has been falling, because that is the event risk it is facing. Suppose if Kitex is not having any debt, means somehow they will survive. The loss will be only the revenue loss will be there. Now we have to face the interest burden also. Suppose if the same tariff of 50% continues for 6 months or 8 months. So the company which we are buying, we have to do some analysis, and we should understand what we are buying. And it is going to be stock pickers market in near term. So that's going to be there. Events, geopolitical activity, August 15th, the important meeting is there, US President and Putin. And there are talks that a US team is going to visit India on 24th. Whether it will happen or not, we don't know. These are the events we have to watch. Monsoon progress is there, then foreign institutions. So these are the events we have to watch. Okay, thank you.